Hey men, today we're going to cover 4 steps how to rebuild or regain trust with your long-term relationship lover or your wife when you feel it's gone, she feels it's gone, or you know it's gone. Let's get started.
You just got to be coachable.
First, please do me a favor right now. Implement the law of reciprocity in your life by helping other men, by helping me help you. Please right now, subscribe to the channel if you stand for marriage or you're trying to restore your marriage. Teach the YouTube algorithm that this content where we're supporting marriage is something that's a benefit to the community so that it'll reach other men. And also do yourself a favor. In addition to subscribing, please right now, press that bell button so as new content's released on this channel, you'll be notified and the algorithm won't suppress it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Griffin and I help men who are facing an unwanted divorce or separation forever rebuild and restore their relationship the right way with the right timing. If your wife or your long-term relationship lover has told you that she's done, she doesn't trust you anymore, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, she's moved on, you're doing an in-house separation, you're doing a physical separation, maybe she's already moved on and has a boyfriend, moving into a new relationship and taking steps necessary to exit the relationship, or maybe she's even telling you, hey, we need some time apart, but I don't want a divorce yet. A lot of times that's just because she's being nice and doesn't want to hurt your feelings. What we want to do is encourage you to step back and look at the reality of your situation, and more often than not, especially if you're married to or you're in a relationship with a very nice woman, she's not going to be fully honest for the risk of actually hurting your feelings, and she doesn't want to feel bad about that. Women are not always honest either with other women and especially with men whenever they're going to position you to feel pain, so they're going to withhold the truth. If your wife or your lover has told you it's too little too late, she's an obstinate partner, she's kind of giving you the cold shoulder, she's telling you that the relationship will never be restored. If you're dealing with relationship trauma, if she's in counseling, maybe she's told you she has PTSD, she needs to find herself first. If you're dealing with childhood trauma, if you're dealing with anxious attachment, if either you or her is an anxious avoidant, if there's been marriage hurt, if you or her have already filed for a divorce, or a divorce has even actually been finalized but she's not remarried yet. If she's told you, I forgive you, but I can't forget. If she's cheated on you and you've told her, I forgive you, but you feel like you can't forget it. If you or her are dealing with childhood trauma that you feel like you need healing from, maybe you're in counseling for that. If there's a limerent or a physical affair partner already involved. If there's enemies of the marriage, that could be friends, family, an emotional affair partner, a physical affair partner, a new friend that she's reestablished, a new friendship that she's developed. Maybe she's wearing tighter clothes, going out, painting her best life ever on social media. If she's told you, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. All of those are things that we can actually deal with and we do address successfully in a program that I run called the DivorceStoppers program. But today I'm going to give you some pointers that should give you some turnaround that you can start practicing and implementing right away to cause her to start trusting you again. There's 4 things that you need to understand right away if you want to salvage the relationship before she ends up remarried to another man or pregnant with another man's baby. The first thing that you want to understand is who is it up to if your wife or your lover trusts you again? She's saying things like, I'll never trust you again, or you might even be saying that you'll never trust her again. But at the end of the day, if she doesn't trust you and she's telling you that, and she's even telling you that she'll never trust you again, and you might even be having thoughts like, Denver, you don't know my wife. When she makes up her mind, that's just the way it is. She doesn't change it. Guess what? If she met you, she fell in love with you, she wanted to marry you, she wanted to move in with you, but now she wants to divorce you or be away from you, then she does change her mind. In the DivorceStoppers program, I actually teach men how to change the mind of their lover or their wife. Very successfully, I might add. But in this video, the first thing that you can do to actually start that process is understand if it is to be, it's up to me. See, it's not really your wife or your lover's choice if she trusts you or not. It's your choice. And what do I mean by that? Trust is earned and rebuilt through a series of new relationship histories of trustworthy behavior. See, imagine this, if you will. Imagine if you opened a convenience store or a gas station or a mini market, some type of small store. And imagine that you hired an ex-convict to actually run the cash register for you. You might say things like, hey, I'm choosing to trust you to work here. Even though you're an ex-con, I'm giving you a chance. But at the end of the day, you don't really trust the ex-con, but with time, you very well might. So what's going to cause you to trust that ex-con that maybe was arrested in the past and served jail time for stealing? What's going to cause you to trust the ex-con is the ex-con. Him establishing enough new relationship histories with you of trustworthy behavior. And that is something that positions the ex-con that you've hired to be the one responsible, whether you actually trust him or not. Just because you're allowing someone into your life, you're choosing to give them an opportunity with your money or your heart. And in the case of a relationship, it would be your heart. In a case of a convenience store employee, it would be with your money. But the same principle applies. You're not actually going to trust this man, but you might give him a chance anyway. Right now, your wife is saying, I'm not willing to give you a chance anyway because I'll never trust you. You can ruin her story that she doesn't trust you anymore, which will then position you with the authority where she's more likely through your new leadership to actually give you a chance. This is what we do in the Divorce Stoppers program. First and foremost, it's the first thing that we do. As you rebuild that trust, you're positioned so she'll actually be attracted to come back into the relationship. You make that in her best interest by becoming a new man. It's not just enough for you to change. You've got to also change her if you want the relationship restored. The way that you do that is you take ownership and the opportunity to regain power in the relationship by understanding if it is to be, it's up to me. Meaning it's not her choice if she trusts you or not. It's not her choice if she trusts you again. It's 100% up to you. You can make that happen. If you're not sure how to make that happen, you might register for our free masterclass at denvergriffin.com. I'll give you some pointers on that there, like I'm doing today. The second thing that you can do is actually understanding what is the first step in rebuilding trust within this relationship. I can tell you the first thing that you can do to regain trust in a relationship is start the process of ruining the story that she's telling herself and maybe some enemies of the marriage about you and the relationship, that she can never be with you again because she doesn't trust you with her heart. The way that you can successfully ruin the stories that she's telling herself is by making her feel heard and by making her feel seen again. And if you can successfully do that, you'll start the process of making her feel valued again. Right now, she doesn't trust that you could ever be a man that would ever make her feel seen, heard, much less valued again. There's too much water under the bridge in her eyes. And you might be enrolled in that lie that it's not possible to turn it around. But all of those past hurts, all of the past old negative relationship histories that's caused her to lose trust in you, to lose trust in the relationship, you can actually use all of that to build and capitalize on in building intimacy. Right now, you've apologized for a lot of things, but you've done it the wrong way. You've not done it in a way that actually makes her feel like you understood how you made her feel when you did those betrayals, when you did those negative things. You've apologized for your actions, but you've never actually understood how those actions made her feel. Humiliated, embarrassed, betrayed, maybe even jeopardized her identity. All of those feelings, you've never put yourself in her shoes long enough to actually make her feel seen, heard, and valued. And you can actually turn that around quickly through communication. What really sets us aside in the Divorce Stoppers program is the first thing that we do is start the process of not just you becoming the best version of you, because that's never going to restore the relationship. Anytime I bring on a new student in the Divorce Stoppers program, the new student is never my client. The actual client is always the marriage or the relationship. Running a program in this way is something that's radically different from any other program that's out there, and it's radically different from anything else that's being discussed or talked about on YouTube. Right now, we have students that are going through the 7-week transformation program on all 7 continents in the world. And this same principle applies in every culture with every student on all 7 continents that we have. It works universally across the globe. The way that you can make her feel seen, heard, and valued and actually turn this relationship around very, very fast, it can actually be accomplished in as little as 7 days. You can do this through communication. Well, Denver, how? This is radically crazy. You're saying I can restore my relationship in 7 days? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you can stop the train that's heading toward her being married to another man, her being pregnant with another man's baby. You can stop that train. You can put the brakes on that train. You can put that train in reverse, and you can start going the other direction towards marriage or relationship reconciliation. And you can actually do that in 7 days. And you can put enough history behind you in that 7-day window that by day 7, if you'll do this the way that I teach in the Divorce Stoppers program, you will know by day 7 that your relationship is going to be restored because you'll see enough evidence of that. Denver, this is crazy. How can I possibly do that? Because the marriage is the client, not the student. The number one priority in the Divorce Stoppers program is not to make you feel good about yourself. It's not to make you feel happy, not to get your biceps back, not to become the best version of yourself. The number one goal is to rebuild intimacy, establish trust in the first 7 days so that not only you're changing, but you're also leading her to change. Because here's a fun fact. 41% of my students come from other programs. Why is that? Because the other programs all focus on the man being the client. And if the man becomes the best option, the man becomes the best version of himself, if she doesn't also change, the relationship doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. You both have got to change. By reestablishing trust, by reestablishing mutual admiration, intimacy, by making her feel heard, valued, and seen, through communication, which is the step one in the Divorce Stoppers program, you can put some speed in turning that train around successfully in about a week. But guess what? Even once you recreate intimacy and you make her trust you again, you make her feel heard, you make her feel seen, you make her feel valued, that's not enough to actually fully restore a relationship. That's why I said you can turn the train around in 7 days, but I didn't say you could restore the relationship in 7 days. What'll often happen if you do this the wrong way, and for a lot of you, you might have already done this by watching my YouTube videos, is you might have been stuck in the friend zone or you're heading for that once you turn the train around. See, once you successfully turn the train around, the marriage or the relationship is not going to be restored until we reestablish sexual polarity, sexual intimacy, sexual passion. So it's not just enough to become friends again. It's not just enough to rebuild trust again. It's not just enough to make her feel seen, valued, and heard. You've got to capitalize on that by continuing to build the momentum. Guess what? Several years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer. I'm successfully healed from that now. I'm full remission for many, many years. Praise Jesus. I give him all the glory for that. But I'll tell you something, a really great experience that came out of that. I was getting treatment for a couple of years at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital, Cancer Hospital in New York City. One of the things that was very advantageous, and I think one of the reasons God allowed me to go through the process, is so I would actually get to experience a clinical trial that was going on there, where the doctors in this clinical trial were studying patients that had severe disabling pain, and they could no longer take pain medication because their body wouldn't allow them to take pain medication, and their lives were crippled because of the pain. In this clinical trial, the doctors were reversing pain and teaching the patients how to manage this pain through brain therapy. And so what they were doing every time the patient would feel pain, since they weren't able to take a pain medication to manage that pain, they were teaching them how to manage the pain with their mind. And guess what? They successfully did that in a very, very high percentage of these patients. Well, Denver, why the hell are you telling us a story about pain management? Here's why I'm telling you that story. Do you know how long the clinical trial for that was? It was 7 weeks, because it took 7 weeks of teaching these patients how to think different thoughts anytime they felt pain. And by doing this successfully for the period of 7 weeks through neuroplasticity, stimulating neurogenesis with these new thoughts, at the end of 7 weeks, at the beginning of the 8th week, they could do a CAT scan of the patient's brain and see where the thought patterns were in their mind where they experienced pain. Their brain biologically changed in 7 weeks of these new relationship histories with themselves by choosing to think different thoughts. That's the reason that the Divorce Stoppers program is a 7-week program. We rewire your mind in 7 weeks, and through your leadership with the marriage or the relationship being the client, we teach you how to rewire her mind, which means she changes also, and I never have to speak to her. I'm teaching you how to psychologically lead her into seeing the new you, and to lead her into understanding that it's in her best interest to be reattracted into the relationship. Once you make these changes in yourself, you're leading her during that 7-week tenure to make changes in herself. That way, you're not becoming the happiest version of yourself and leaving her behind. That's not fair. We want to lead her into becoming the best version of herself. That way, she doesn't resent you for becoming the new you, but it's also helping her. Several weeks ago, I was flying back to my home in Puerto Rico from the United States, and I had a lady on the airplane say, "Denver, what do you do for a living? You're so charismatic. You should be a public speaker." And I said, I am a speaker. And what I do for a living is I help women and children have the most amazing lives that they would never have otherwise through a leadership program that I run called Divorce Stoppers. And I do this by teaching the men in their life new leadership skills, and those men are now empowered to lead the woman and the children in that relationship to their best lives. That's what always happens when the marriage is as the client. If you're somebody that's a biblical person, even God actually created marriage before he created ministry. And I'm not talking about a church house when I'm talking about ministry. I work for God in this program. And fortunately, God's blessed me where he's positioned money to work for me because the program has been massively successful. But my wife and I actually ran this program for about the first 8 years as a nonprofit. Now, today it's transformed into something that's very beneficial to our clients. It's a high-ticket coaching program, and I wish I would have made that change way before that we did it, because what used to take 7 months with our clients, we now accomplish in 7 weeks because we've invested all of our resources into this. But the point that I'm making with this is my calling. This is my anointing. I've been uniquely qualified to do this as my ministry, even though I don't claim that this is a religious organization. Even though I personally am a religious person. I'm a Christian. But do you understand what I say? That for all of you out there, if you're still here and you're on the earth and you're drawing up oxygen, there's an anointing on your life. Have you ever felt this feeling in your chest, in your soul, in your spirit? There's got to be something more to life than this. Not only do I teach you how to accomplish that, the way that we do that is getting the marriage on point first. The ripple effect of that is you will step into your anointing. You will step into your calling. But so many other programs have it mixed up and they're doing it in reverse. Become the best version of yourself. Go step into your calling. Go step into your anointing. And then you leave your lover behind and she resents you for it. And guess what? Until you lead your lover into this, if you move forward without her and you don't understand how to fix this and turn this relationship around based on numbers, based on math, based on statistics that are real numbers, the odds are statistically you're going to recreate this and you're going to live this same exact nightmare with the next woman. When you position yourself to lead this woman back into the relationship, position yourself in your leadership so that she trusts you again by you changing her, by you leading her to be happy within your garden, by you also showing her the path to become the best version of herself. That is a 1% of a 1% man. And that's what happens in graduation in the DivorceStoppers program. The way that we prevent you from getting stuck in the friend zone is once you have reestablished trust, emotional safety, at that point, you've reestablished a friendship on a whole new intimate level where she feels heard, seen, and valued, which will in turn cause her to actually start wanting to spend time with you. She'll want to talk to you because no other person in her life has ever made her feel seen, heard, and valued the way that I teach you how to do it. As you do that, she will naturally change herself. She will start to understand that she could be happy within this friendship. She will start to feel the intimate connection. But guess what? She most likely will still be experiencing some level of pride, and you've got to actually take it to the next level to build sexual passion and to create an environment where there is sexual polarity with the right kind of masculine leadership. One of the things that we incorporate to do this is we slowly start implementing different touch charges. For example, once you rekindle the friendship, you might gradually graze her arm to get used to touching again, and you progressively advance that in a way that it becomes more and more intimate, more and more romantic as she gets comfortable, as you get comfortable, because in the beginning you're going to be nervous, she's going to be nervous, she may pull away, but you keep testing those waters as you rebuild and you regain trust. Eventually, with enough new relationship histories, the touch charges can increase as you lead yourself back into new trustworthy behaviors that will cause her to actually organically start trusting you. It's a very easy process. It's the reason I call it you're walking down the mountain. You're not having to climb this grueling mountain to rebuild and restore this relationship. That's the hard way. That's working on the relationship. Working on the relationship is always going to be exactly what's never going to work. Not if you're in a long-term relationship or a marriage where you have assets, you have children, you have homes, you have rental property, you have businesses. You don't have time to take the hard way where it takes a year and 2 years. You've got to do something fast to turn it around before more damage is done. That's why we want to stop that train in 7 days and fully rebuild and graduate you from the program in 7 weeks. And it's a very easy process. Let me ask you a question. Have you already saw some semblance where you've been watching some of my videos and you've rekindled the friendship, but you're stuck in the friend zone? Or maybe she's telling you, hey, listen, I forgive you. We can be great co-parents. Let's do this. I'm in it to win it, but not as your lover. I'll never be your wife again. She's still moving forward with the divorce. She still has a boyfriend, even though she's hanging out with you. And you're like, how do I get out of this? If that's you, put that in the comments right now. I want you to share your story and maybe even give me some content ideas for my next video. Put that in the comments right now and let me know where you're at in your relationship in the process of rebuilding, regaining trust, reestablishing sexual intimacy. If you're not even close to being there, tell me where you are. Where are you stuck? Put that in the comments and I'll consider that for the next video. The fourth thing I want to talk about is, let's say you have restored the friendship. You've reestablished the intimacy as a friend. She is following your leadership. You have successfully made her feel safe. You have successfully made her feel seen. You have successfully made her feel heard. You have successfully made her feel valued. You guys are hanging out again. Maybe you're best friends again. You took the kids trick-or-treating. You're doing Christmas together. You go to the zoo together. You hang out. And you feel like, for all intents and purposes, your relationship's actually restored. But she's still moving forward with the separation. She's still moving forward with her boyfriend, the limerent affair partner, the emotional affair partner. She still has the divorce case open. Guess why? It's because she's going to be too embarrassed for a lot of women at this point, because she's enrolled so many other people that I call enemies of the marriage. She has told them what a narcissist you are, what a big arsehole you are, and that she's already made the price too expensive for her to come back into the relationship. Maybe she's hanging out with you and you guys are going out to eat occasionally, but you're hiding. She's doing it in secret because she doesn't want anybody to know. She's embarrassed. And so what I call that is, right now, if you're in that place, and by the way, if that's you, or if you even have anything similar, put that in the comments right now. But if that is you and that's where you're at, what you're dealing with is her humiliation. It's one of the steps that I cover in the DivorceStoppers program, and I go very much in depth in one of the entire weeks that we dig down how to overcome that. In order to overcome that, you've got to actually make the price more expensive for her to stay out of the relationship than the price that she'll have to pay to come into the relationship. See, when I was at this stage with my wife, her daughter actually told her, listen, if you go back to that narcissistic pig, I am done with you. And that was a very expensive price that my wife was going to have to pay to come back into the relationship. And you know what? It was something that hindered the relationship. If I did not understand how to navigate those waters successfully, we wouldn't be married today. We would have actually finalized our divorce. And so how do you do that if you're stuck in the friend zone? Maybe even you're making love with your wife again, but she's still not willing to come back into the relationship. The only way to successfully navigate that is to give her a glimpse of a Polaroid picture of what the future is actually going to hold if she gets her way, continuing to exit or stay out of the relationship. So how do you do that? Well, it's step number 4. You're going to have to start marketing yourself again as if you were single. I'm not telling you to go have sex with somebody or anything like that, but I am telling you that you're going to have to show the world that, hey, I'm a marketable man, and you're going to have to let go of the story that you can never have happiness again unless it's with that woman, because you're putting too much pressure on her. If you want the relationship restored at this point, you're going to have to let go of the relationship. You're going to tell her, hey, it's okay. If you want friends with benefits, that's okay. But you're going to have to market yourself again. Is your social media page still have her and you in the same profile picture, but hers doesn't have you? That's not marketing yourself. That's telling her, hey, I'm wrapped around your pinky and I'm going to be there for always. If you still have your relationship status as married or in a relationship with her, I don't want you to go change that to it's complicated or separated or divorced. But what I do want you to do is change that status to hidden, meaning it's not going to show up anymore. If you're still wearing a wedding ring and she's not, take yours off. Start adding some female friends on your Facebook. Start posting some gym selfies, maybe showing a little bit extra bicep, a little bit extra skin, and start getting some other females to like those photos. It'll help you understand that, hey, the world is full of other beautiful women, and I actually could potentially be happy with another woman beside this one. Market yourself again as if you were single. If you'll do that, she will start understanding that other women actually could want you, and she'll start processing Wow, what if he starts wanting other women? It'll cause her to re-second guess. See, I actually was in a long-term relationship that ended one time, and I really do think that one of the main reasons that relationship ended forever was because that relationship partner believed that my religious beliefs were that if I were to get remarried, that I would go to hell, because I actually used to believe that. And because of that, she left me on the sidelines, had me wrapped around her finger, because I was in a position where I was either going to be lonely or allow her to do whatever she wanted to do, and there's no repercussions because I wasn't ever going to divorce her. Or I was always going to be waiting there on the sidelines even if she divorced me because of what she thought. Even though that may not be your religious beliefs, are you telling your wife, are you telling your lover that no matter what you do, I'm here on the sidelines, I can see that I have eyes for you and you only, I could never be happy with any other woman but you? Are you constantly telling her things like I love you? Is she still on your social media? Stop all of that crap. Get her off of your social media. Stop saying I love you. Start adding other female friends on social media. Make her a little bit jealous. This is not manipulative at all. This is simply a glimpse of the future if her leadership wins. All you're doing is pivoting the leadership roles. You have become the best option at this point. Once you've done that, start marketing yourself as if you were going to start the process of moving forward and watch it change. Now, here's where there's a danger with this. If you forget everything else that I just told you in the first 3 steps and you move right on to the 4th step, guess what? The odds are you guys will actually get back together. But if you don't do the other things as a precursor to doing this right, if you don't do those other things first, the odds are when you guys do get back together, it won't last and you'll get separated and face another divorce. So let me ask you a question. If you've been watching my YouTube videos for a while, you hear me say this constantly. We're coming up on divorce month. That's a very dangerous thing for some of you that are watching this video. Time is only on your side if you put it there. If your wife or your long-term relationship lover actually has confirmation bias, watching these videos might not be the wisest thing to do because you're running out of time if you're in a separation or you're facing a divorce when there's confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is not something that's necessarily easy to navigate. Matter of fact, I would say it's literally impossible if you don't know how to do that. If you've been watching my YouTube videos and you felt like you've gained enough to turn the train around in the 7 days, that's still not enough to restore it. Because in order for confirmation bias to fully dissipate, it takes 7 weeks of landing the plane in the correct field. Correct, accurate, and on point, meaning you must have a win every single week for 7 wins for 7 weeks to successfully ruin the story of confirmation bias. Because when confirmation bias has been activated and it exists, it's biological. Remember the story I told you about the cancer patients that couldn't take pain medication, and through changing their thoughts, they successfully biologically changed their brain? It's the same way that we change and get rid of confirmation bias or cognitive bias. It takes 7 weeks of doing that correctly. For many of you, if you're facing an actual divorce or separation forever, if there's an affair partner involved, you better put speed on it. There is a need for speed. Watching YouTube videos is not going to be enough speed in order to save this before you have something else that comes up that's going to make it so much more difficult to actually restore the relationship or the marriage. If that's you, I have another tool and another resource that could actually help you with that. Right now, I still have some seats left this week for my free masterclass, The Marriage U-Turn. You can register for that free masterclass at denvergriffin.com. If you go on there and there's no seats available, keep checking back and some seats will eventually open up. But I would encourage you, if you believe that your wife has confirmation bias, we're coming into divorce month, please don't wait. Take the initiative and be willing to invest in your time and in your finances with our high-ticket coaching program called DivorceStoppers. But first, as a precursor to that, register for the free masterclass. If you go through the free masterclass, that may be all you need to get back on track. But if you do feel like you need more, at the end of each masterclass, when I do these live masterclass, I always will give you a link to book a call with me or my team, and we'll discuss an application for you to see if you're a good fit for the DivorceStoppers program. I can tell you right now, we have way more applicants than we actually have seats available for the program. And the reason I'm telling you this right now, I think last week we had 1,052 men try to reserve a seat to actually do an application call for the program with us, and there was no spot on the calendar. If you're finding that's what's happening, just keep checking back 2 or 3 times a day. A lot of times we'll have a cancellation or a spot will open up. We're doing everything that we can. I'm actually trying to hire some more coaches to help me do these application calls to see if you're a good fit. But until that happens, just keep checking back if you need that, and eventually a spot will open up for you. The website again to register for that free masterclass is denvergriffin.com. But everything that I talked about today in these 4 steps, if you're still skeptical that, is it too late? I don't really believe that mine can actually be saved. Maybe you're already actually in a divorce. Maybe your wife has filed divorce. Maybe you have mediation coming up. Maybe your divorce has been finalized. But guess what? There's still hope. And I'm going to actually give you a video that's going to show you that. There's 2 types of divorce. There's a paper divorce, which is a legal divorce in the court of law, and there's also an emotional divorce. And I've never seen a man in the 11 years that I've been doing marriage coaching, and particularly in the DivorceStoppers program, where an emotional divorce has already taken place. If you're watching these videos, if your wife or your lover is not already pregnant with another man's baby, or she's not already actually remarried to another man, even if she's engaged, if they haven't set a date where it's going to happen in the next 7 weeks, you most likely have a chance to turn this around. In the next video, you're going to meet Jason. If you'll click on the YouTube video that's going to come up next that says how to save your marriage alone. If you'll click on that video, you can hear Jason's story of how he did it. His wife had already filed for a divorce, and they actually got a paper divorce. And guess what? Jason went through this leadership program, successfully turned the train around in 7 days, and fully turned the train around and rebuilt and restored his marriage and his relationship. His wife was adamant she was not coming back into the marriage. It was over. The divorce was finalized. The judge put the gavel down, and they were no longer legally husband and wife. But there wasn't an emotional divorce yet. She told Jason, "I don't trust you anymore, and I never will." And she meant it. But guess what? Jason successfully turned that train around even after a legal divorce, and they're getting remarried. Click on the next video. And by the way, if you haven't already done so, please right now hit the subscribe button. But for you, more importantly, please, 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 please train the algorithm that this is something that benefits this community. Help us restore every marriage that we can by pressing the notification button so you too are notified as new videos are posted on this channel.